We'll start, I guess, real quick with what the Leafs did because they did make a few significant moves, I guess. But
Yeah.
we'll start off with the one that I think had everyone talking, and that was Joe Thornton. 1 year, $700,000 league minimum contract with the Leafs. Thomas, I'll let you start this one off.
Yeah, it's in my opinion, I think it's a win-win situation for the Leafs and Jumbo because A, it's 700K and B, it's Jumbo Joe Thornton. He's still pretty good. He still has a great passing sense that can help the Leafs on whether it's the third or fourth line he's playing on, and the 700K helps for the cap hit obviously because our team has a large cap hit and people are making a lot of money in the top like elite players on our team. So I think it's a pretty good deal for both of us. And you're very familiar with Joe Thornton from the San Jose days because he versed Calgary a lot of times in the Pacific Division.
Oh,
And
yeah.
did you see anything from his game? Like, obviously his game's not from 5 years ago, but like, have you seen anything in his game that's like dropped off like insurmountably since 5 years ago to now?
Well,
That you can tell us about?
obviously his skating.
Right.
He's had some major knee problems the last few years. So there could obviously they weren't picking up Joe Thornton to be a burner, and he's never
Yeah.
been a burner. He still has that vision. Like that
Yep.
is something that never went away with Jumbo. Like obviously, what was it, in 15, 16, he threw up a point per game. That was 5 years ago. But um, I think from a Leafs perspective, you see what kind of Kyle Dubas has been doing this offseason. Obviously with bringing in Wayne Simmons, keeping Jason Spezza around, and now bringing in Thornton. Seems like he kind of wants a little more veteran presence around the room, and I think for the younger guys like Marner and Matthews and Nylander and possibly Nick Robertson next year, it's probably a big thing for them to have like this legend in Joe Thornton joining their team. We obviously know how Jumbo is off the ice. He's a personality for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But even in San Jose, when they brought guys in like Evander Kane and even to an extent Brent Burns,
Yep.
he was able to kind of reel them in along with Patrick Marleau was there and Pavelski was obviously there. But the Evander Kane one was big because he obviously there were some problems with him off the ice, and it seems like the Sharks were able to get through to him. And, he's been good for them since he's gotten there. Obviously he's gone through some rough patches. But I think Thornton coming into Toronto, I don't necessarily think he'll play the whole year. I think, I don't think he's going to play if there is an 82-game year. I don't think he's going to play all 82 games, just, considering his body and the workload that has come with it. And especially if it's a very condensed schedule like we're thinking it might be. But it's good to have him around. I think he's going to really teach the young guys a lot of, what it takes to play in the league. And, obviously this guy's a legend. He's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He can be probably a good asset on the power play. I think as long as like his passing is still there and, he can just be a setup guy. He's never been really much of a goal scorer, but no, it's a good signing for the Leafs. I like it for them. The other two signings that the Leafs had recently this week, Ilya Mikheyev, 2 years, $1.6 million per for 2 years. And Travis Dermott, 1 year at $874,000. So, Thomas, I'll quickly get your thoughts on those two because, they were pretty major, I think, from a Leafs perspective.
Yeah. Two I'd say pretty good, solid signings for the Leafs. Ilya Mikheyev obviously came over from Russia last year and had a bad injury that sidelined him from January to obviously the cancellation of the season. And that was pretty tough to watch considering it was his first ever year in North America and he was all new to the situation. But I think Ilya Mikheyev's deal is pretty good. He can go anywhere in the lineup, I think, when he plays. Just it's the offense that's non-consistent when he's up in the top six. But he's a good, a good piece that complements your star players. So like obviously Martin Tavares and Matthews Nylander. Like he's a good piece that can go in the corner, get the puck for you, pass it out in front, and it's a goal or a good shot on net and a chance to score. And I think Ilya Mikheyev's really good at doing that, and I'm excited to see what he can do in the future. He didn't have a great playoffs, but yeah, I'm excited for Ilya Mikheyev. It's cheap. He can skate and he gives heart every night. So, and then with Travis Dermott, it's a cheap deal, 1 year for the defenseman, and he's gonna have to fight his way in the lineup this year because they have they have a multitude of defensemen that they've signed and got. So I think for Travis Dermott this year, I think it's to make the lineup, and it's a cheap deal. So maybe they can move Travis Dermott during the year because it is cheap, but I like Travis Dermott, man. I've said this to you over text. I remember talking, I think, the day he signed. I really like Travis Dermott. Just, he has to get it going. Like, he has to get it really consistently going in the offensive end and defensive end, because everyone has laps in the NHL and obviously mistakes they make. But with Travis Dermott, he seems to do it in a way that he's very cocky about himself. And when he does make those mistakes, a lot of people bash on him because he's so, I guess, cocky in a sense. But I think with Travis Dermott, I think they just have to give him a shot at the top pairings with either Muzzin or Riley. Give him like 3 games. If it doesn't work, hey, you tried and it doesn't work. So keep him on the last pairing and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I like these 2 signings from the Maple Leafs, and I think that's going to help going towards the season and maybe the playoffs. So yeah, I'm a fan of these signings, and I think the Leafs got pretty, not significantly better, but I think they got better over this offseason, definitely with all these signings they've signed. And I really don't think they're done yet, to be honest.
Now, moving on to the Flames, what they did, they made quite a few signings over the past few weeks. We'll start with the big one, and that was them locking up their big RFA of the offseason in Andrew Mangiapane to a 2-year, $2.4 million contract. I really like this deal for the Flames. Mangiapane's a guy, he was drafted in the 6th round in 2015. He was an overager in that draft. He was passed over in 2014. And, he had an incredible year in Barrie, fought his way into the ranks, and the Flames took him to the 6th round. And ever since he's got drafted, he's kind of just worked his way up. In 18-19, he, got in on the 4th line with Derek Ryan and Garnet Hathaway, made quite a bit of an impact. And then this past season, fought his way into the top 6 with Backlund and Tkachuk, and was incredible. He had 17 goals. Points-wise, you look 32 points. Nothing, brag about. But he was really good on both ends of the puck, both ends of the rink. He was great, and this guy's only getting better at 24 years old. And at 2.4, I wish they may have gone a little long-term with him, like they did almost with Rasmus Anderson, where they gave him 4.5 over 6 years. But due to the Flames' cap constraints, and they just weren't able to do that. Obviously after the Tanev signing and the Markstrom signing, and it was just something I don't think they were able to get done there. But 2 years, he's still an RFA once the deal ends. It's a really value contract for the Flames, especially if he continues to grow. Because he was really good this past season. He was really good in the playoffs, and there's still a lot of room for this guy to grow.
Oh, tons.
Yeah, and especially like the fact that he was able to carve out a spot for himself alongside Backlund and Tkachuk, where Michael Frolik was for 3 years, where that line was incredible, the 3M line, and now you kind of have 3M 2.0 with Mangiapane in there. It's super, super good that they got this guy cheap. And he's one of those guys, along with like Dylan Dubé, who you're hoping grows and gets better. I think it's possible for him to go like 20-20 this season, where 20 goals, 20 assists, 40 points. Even if he can break 25, if the season didn't get cut short, I guarantee he had 20 goals this year. And then the 4 other signings, should I say? I'll go over them real quick. They signed Joachim Nordstrom, Nikita Nestorov, Dominic Simone, and Josh Levo, all really to league-min contracts. Levo got a little more than league-min, but I'll go over them real quick. Joachim Nordstrom played on the Bruins for the past few years. Played really just majority in a 4th-line role, penalty-killing guy. The numbers don't suggest he's great, but if he's a guy that's going to be getting in the lineup, like if he's going to be splitting time with someone on that 4th line, I don't mind it. It's a good, he can be, hopefully a decent depth option down the line. It'll be better than obviously like Ronaldo or Buddy Robinson for that fact. So at $700K, he's a guy that could play on the penalty kill. I don't mind it. Dominic Simone was one I actually really, really liked. Played in Pittsburgh, these last few years. He's played with Sidney Crosby. He's a guy that he's relentless on the forecheck. He's a good 2-way guy. He's not gonna put up world-beating points, but as a guy who can just drive play and get in there and make things happen, at $700,000, I think it's a good value contract for the Flames. It's either it's a low risk, high reward kind of thing, and he's still and he'll be an RFA when his deal expires, so they'll still own his rights a year from now. Josh Levo, They picked him up from the Canucks, their fourth Canuck that they've signed this offseason.
The Calgary Canucks.
The Calgary Canucks. Levo, this is a guy I've actually been wanting the Flames to target for a while. He's a guy that can really shoot the puck. He never really got an opportunity on the Leafs. I think that year with Babcock, he played like 7 games or something.
Yeah.
He had a really good year this year in Vancouver before his injury. I think he was on pace for, more than 20 goals and 40 points if he didn't get injured.
He got injured, like the first month, right?
Yeah, it was bad. It was a bad knee injury. And, Levo, it's a depth option. He shoots right, which the Flames don't have any of. They only have one right-handed shooting forward in their group right now, and that's Derek Ryan.
Yeah.
But to add in Josh Levo, another guy that right-handed shot can shoot the puck, again, it's a low-risk, high-reward kind of thing. At $800K, you can't go wrong. And the last one was Nikita Nestorov, defenseman out of Russia. He played on Tampa, he played on Montreal, and then he went over to Russia for a few years.